Hi, hello, and welcome to Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess Gorgeous. I'll be your oracle today. I would like to get this love reading out of the way while I'm on an empty stomach because I'm getting a little hungry. So let's do this while I remember to do it and it's not too late. The moon is new in Virgo around September 1st. So this is a new moon in High Priestess, and then this is Virgo. So I'll go ahead and open up the record. Remember, we're going to be doing the library spread all month. Just during the month of Virgo because energy is intense. And this whole 2020 shiznit is really getting in the way of some things. Okay, so it seems like whatever this love situation is going to bring to the forefront is going to be about manifesting one's options and understanding what it is to create a cycle or to be in a cycle. And it has to deal with the higher self, navigating the physical as a human connected to the higher self, allowing the self, lower self to, or the primal self to be guided by the higher self as well. Okay, so we have the devil ascending here. The new moon is typically when we talk about the divine lover's energy. So that could just be karma. It seems like the divine masculine is thoroughly aware of it. So since the moon is full in Pisces, or new in Virgo and full in Pisces in 2 weeks, this month will be on a divine feminine cycle. So we'll be giving the guidance to the divine masculine and the findings to the divine masculine and the guidance to the divine feminine. You may or may not understand. It'll come out in a second. So the findings are deliberated through the Aleister Crowley Lady Frida Harris Thoth Tarot. I'm going to be giving my guidance from the Rumi Oracle by Alana Fairchild. And let us begin. So we have Virgo as the energy this month, and we're going to do a quick assessment on the cycle and see what this journey and the guidance will give us. So let's do an assessment. If the ascending energy here is lunar Virgo, there's some type of cycle beginning for innovative purposes. It seems like the strength, the courage, the wisdom is what will bring the connection into divine alignment. So into the union, coming into alignment will bring this union into the physical or back into the physical, really to the physical. And it seems like overcoming strength, courage, and wisdom, honoring right, strong courage, strong passion towards being in alignment will create a worldwide resolution, an internal, eternal lifetime resolution. Whatever gets solved in this lifetime will span all of the other existences, consciousnesses, et cetera, so forth, so have you. What's coming out is a confrontation going towards well, some of us will be making communication contact, perhaps writers, things from the depths of the soul may be communicated. Others of us, it will be a confrontation, not always negative. Sometimes confronting things, it's just like you haven't paid a bill in 2 months and you're finally going to log online and look at the statement. Or you might have gone shopping during Christmas season and then it's August and you're finally going to do more than pay the minimum payment. You know, that's the type of confrontation as well. Or you've been driving and at 60,000 miles you haven't got an oil change, but all of a sudden you have a 3-day weekend or a 4-day weekend. You might finally confront getting that oil change. So not every confrontation is negative, but it does seem like something we've been generally disposed to not doing, generally leaning into an avoidance, hiding, checking out. We're now going to show up, participate, maybe even go into the depths of something, maybe alone or in communication union. Okay, this confrontation, it might be a journey of mysteries. It might be just doing some soul searching, taking some self-insight, using soul's wisdom to gather up the things that have been latent, not manifest, not generally or immediately obvious, but things that need to be perceived, intuited, etc. We're going to go down that journey. And what we'll find there is the need to stand up to bullies, the need to stand up to being out of alignment, anything that is constrictive, adversarial to our personal power, our own autonomy, will be confronted. Mostly it'll be beliefs, corrupted traditions, corrupted dogmatic belief systems. It seems like we're in the school of belief that has to deal with Venus, so love. There are some negative elements of love. Love can cause you to evolve. Love spelled backwards is evolve, but it's also evil. So if you worship love as if it's your higher power and you don't use love as a vehicle to reach the higher power or love as a vehicle to connect with the higher self, there's things that are going to be out of alignment, and it would seem like consistently going on journeys towards some type of feeling, towards some type of union with the divine, towards some type of merging into the infinite. We keep going towards those places, and people, places, and things are not going to help us merge into the infinite. Our connection as our authentic self, our connection as our whole autonomous self, our connection as a self-governing, self-mastered individual, our connection with ourself, showing up to receive love, open to love. That will be what is successful. Anything else will have to go into karmic cycles or at least learn karmic lessons. It'll be karmic cycles because there's things that we've been walking right up to the line and not dealing with. Dipping our foot in the water and not submerging ourselves. So between the two lovers is the two energies. So we have the energy of the Fool and the energy of the Strength card. So one thing I do want to say is like, be in a place where you can be casual. You don't have to be a casual person. I'm not saying have sex without love or have sex without commitment, but sometimes somebody makes you feel sexy. Sometimes someone makes you feel beautiful. Sometimes someone makes you remember what it is and what it feels like to be noticed and seen. And when you're getting compliments or it's not about being, you don't have to run from anything. So when something comes your way, perhaps you don't like that energy, but then acknowledge what's alive inside that attracted that and go on and create a bigger, better, and better life. So be okay being sexy, be okay being beautiful, be okay being sensual, be sensual with yourself. You know, don't go chase butterflies. Create and cultivate a garden that attracts butterflies. So let's now get into this consultation. It seems like we start this journey out in our feelings of receptivity, creativity, and technically this is about a new mastery, a new self-mastery, a new self-insight, a new soul's wisdom, higher counsel, wise counsel. It actually starts out in the area of the divine feminine. It seems like the divine feminine would be the wisdom and the surroundings and the thoughts and ideas and creations from said thoughts and ideas that come to the physical. It seems like the gate into the eternal would be the divine feminine. It then brings us into the ideas of the patriarchy and the fallen divine feminine. How patriarchy is kind of taken over mysteries and put his story. It has both negative and positive aspects of it, but the positive aspect would be about the belief in the divine feminine, the belief in the possibility or the existence of the divine feminine, what it is to cultivate and create a virtuous system, structure, generation, legacy, institution, tribal consciousness, of principles of divine feminine. The school of belief here is always in wherever the Hierophant would naturally go, and it says here it's Philadelphia. Philadelphia is the school of belief would be Venus. Venus is the city of brotherly love, or Philadelphia is the city of brotherly love. Okay, so when I say it's the school of, it's the Church of Philadelphia. The concepts, ideas, theories, thoughts, techniques, technologies of Philadelphia, essentially, the Venus, the divine feminine. And it's shown up in hell. It's shown up in the gatekeeper of hell's house. That means corrupted traditions, corrupted theories, dogma, false ascension matrix, if you would. And then it takes us to the energy of needing to stand up to bullies, needing to stand up to bullies. It says binding comes to higher wisdom. So being a bright light in a dark place, understand that when you show up, I'm talking mainly to the divine masculine here. You know, when you show up to love, it needs to be a freeing experience that evolves you and not enslave you. And if you don't have a proper sense of self, or if what you've been conditioned and programmed to believe is out of alignment with your higher, more authentic self, you will spiral out of control, whether it's intentional or otherwise. So some people just have that love story that mother, daddy, teacher, preacher taught them, that society is engaged in. And as they show up to love, they lose track of what's alive in them, they lose track of what they want. Now, further to this, to further flesh out the story, that happens on a global scale, and it happens skewed towards the dethroning of the divine feminine. So the theory of belief here, divine feminine, you should be attracting men, or you should be attracting divine masculines that know that it's their job to return and restore the feminine to their sovereignty, to put her back on her throne and to worship her as a sacred warrior. And there are many faiths, mostly ancient, that worship, it's all centered around the mothers, all centered around the oldest mothers, all centered around the wife. The mother, the oldest living mother in the family is considered a demigoddess. There are aspects of their faith that certain days of the week, certain days of the month, they would incorporate the matrilineal lineage into the rituals and ceremonies that they're doing spiritually. Okay, so I'm being reminded of all of that literally because the theory and idea here is Venus, but the practice of it shows up in the house of the devil. So that's talking about the patriarchy. And there is going to be some transition and shift with the patriarchy, and it is going to be a little bit traumatic, but not for those who are in alignment. So if there's an awakening or an unraveling, or the rug gets ripped out from underneath, it seems like we were warned, we were aware, and we're in alignment with the shift and the change. Because what we're doing is we're waiting for the world to accept us as we are, as lovers. And part of that will be returning to each other, but there's work to do to return to each other. And as we do this work, we step into our purpose. Okay, so again, it starts out in the field of the divine feminine. It goes into corrupted traditions around the divine feminine. It carries on into needing to be a bright light in a dark place, perhaps standing up to bullies on occasion. It follows into needing to use higher wisdom to create cycles. So in the divine masculine's house, there's some type of illumination. It seems like the divine masculines being guided into a higher life purpose, perhaps becoming who they were always meant to be, perhaps learning who they were always meant to be. That's going to be very fortunate, very, 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 very fortunate. And the endings and the transitions and the release that comes will not be chaotic, especially if they don't resist higher energies from anchoring into their current energies. For the divine feminine, again, she's navigating out of hell. She, it, they're navigating out of hell. Okay? So that was the divine aspect. Ooh, jeez. Okay. This is saying to give the guidance at the end. So what we'll do now I'd like to know why we need to stand up to bullies. I'd like to know what about this cycle has it where the divine masculine might need to do some type of protecting, advocating. That's all cute and dandy, but it's really good when a woman also has her own sovereignty, autonomy, fantastic control over herself. It's good if somebody wants to, protect her honor and whatever, but she should be able to say, yes, please do that for me, or, no, you don't need to, please don't mention it. That can get very toxic very quickly when a masculine gets offended on behalf of somebody else, especially when that other person isn't, even if they should, because they should is a statement of judgment. Okay, so here we are. Now what came out, the sign this time, instead of it being the moon, it's the Mercury. So part of it is about illumination, enlightenment, different spiritual perspectives in respect to our belief system, our ideas, our intellectual reasoning, communication. It seems like now we've gone into what the secret, what the mystery is, and also consciousness, awareness of the union. That's going to take us to this aha moment, maybe victory in politics, victory over agendas, powerful victories and powerful transitions. There will be a success to those in a connection that is ruling from the higher self. It keeps saying power plays politics. So I would translate that as some type of agenda. This year or beginning at the end of this year, there's going to be some type of global apocalyptic or, revelation, pre-revelation, kind of like end of times Bible revelations. I think several divine partnerships are going to start to activate, even if they're not in a physical union. If they already in the spiritual union and it's coming into the physical, there's going to be some type of activation where all of the divine masculines on the earth kind of wake up and say, this is where I'm going to plant my flag. This is going to be the ocean of my devotion. This is going to be the strength of my intention. I'm going to project that outward from now on. Never again will I ever XYZ, and never again will I ever elemental P. I will always from now on ABC. I will always from now on TUV. It's going to be very conscientious for them. And it seems like that's the beginning of the ending of the old. That's the beginning of the ending of the karma, because we're consulting the devil now. Mr. A is what I call the devil. And he says, we're starting out in this mystery, and this mystery is going to bring some type of movement into the physical. It seems that there's going to be an awakening on a global scale, or a total revelation, I would call that. And it's going to create opportunities on the masculine end. From the higher self will anchor successfully transitions. Now, part of it is the divine feminine is losing patience. If the world itself, if the Brahmins and the activated and aware, awakened people, not the Illuminati, unless they're non-malevolent, because the Illuminati is a group of people. The dark cabal is the actual sorcerers involved in the group of people that perpetuate. Illuminati just means an illumined person who belongs to some type of society of illumined people. Not every illumined person is evil. So this anger and running out of patience from the divine feminine, it's to any and everybody who's seeking the divine feminine. So any person who would consider themselves a divine masculine, this is on them. And it seems like it's the higher vibration of the divine masculine that's perpetuating this. It seems like the rights and the justice and the woman's rights is finally returning at the right time. But we are running out of patience, and it seems like there's going to be some traumatic or violent inevitable ending, and it would be a forced breakdown. Collapsing structures are going to have to deal with endings of connections, people, places, and things. But what's coming up in the divine feminine as a collective, Gaia, Pachamama, seventh dimensional, she's saying, okay, either lose or love, but loving will require that you lose the old lower vibrational self. So there will be some sacrifice, and the sacrifice will be your old self, or the sacrifice will be this connection. Period. It's time. It was always written in the stars, and now it's here. I've been very tolerant and very patient, but now it's my time, and I'm not taking any further concessions. The time to file for an extension has passed. Your bill is due. Okay. So let me just check into this vein a little bit about more of the endings and stuff. I hear the word breaking free, breaking out of prison. So the masculine is looking at the collective belief, the feminine is looking at this awakening that's on the way. Because there are destined connections, destined partnerships, twin flame connections out there. And the karma here is, because we did in the beginning of the video, we did, since the new moon, we did the divine partnership first, and now we're looking at the karmic, but it's telling me how the divine love will grow. And now, since we're looking at the karmic, it's telling me how the karma gets dissipated so that the beginning, the divine love will grow. So it's all about divine love, but we're looking at the karmic part of it. Remember when I changed the cards around in the middle of the video? Okay, so here we are consulting the karma. All right. So the karma is those beliefs, the lack of understanding of what the divine feminine is. And the divine feminine here is that God is feminine in her. When you have contact with God, it's always feminine. When you have awareness of God, it's always masculine. So we've been conditioned and programmed by the controllers to believe that God is a lot more masculine. And that masculine God that we understand is actually a little bit of the devil's energy. Okay. So the devil's energy has come through the things we've grown to love, but the things we've grown to love were seeded, were created, were initially introduced according to our intellect, reason, and communication, generally collectively as a society, our belief system. Now there's a little bit of spiritual currency here, our faith, our belief, our creativity, imagination, that is devilish too in its nature. Perhaps we've become lustful or sensationalized or wooed over by materialism. So this ending transformation, we got to go on a journey towards a bigger, brighter, and better future. And what this looks like is growth, expansion, renewal, vitality. When we see the feminine succeeding, when we see them blissful and happy, that's when this will grow. That's when this will come out. Okay, so we got this one. Wonderful. Divine Mother Manifest. Like I was saying this whole, I love my job. I love my job. Thank you, great Goddess, for putting me on purpose. Okay. What's in our hand? The Lover and the Beloved. Ooh, child. So on the grounds of the impossible made possible, beyond death is life, Blood Angel, we have Divine Mother Manifest. So I'll use the clarifiers as need be, but we're going to take the guidance of, the guidance always goes to the house where the sign comes out, but in Ifa, you would call it the Odu. So we're going to take the guidance on that house. It's just that I can't put the card there because this is much bigger than the other cards. I'm hearing Great Mother Artemis, Great Mother Isis, Hecate, Hecate, bless us with your wisdom, Great Mother, Horned Mother. So I'm sure that is relevant to somebody. I don't really feel like busting out to Goddess song right now. I'm very hungry and a little tired. I need to eat something. It's better to do divination on an empty stomach, especially this kind of divination when I'm doing a collective reading on the divine feminine or the twin flame connection. Anyways, oh, you living in a world of six directions, accept the gloom and accept the bliss, for those seeds buried in the ground will one day grow into fruitful orchards. We share her, this divine mother, you and I. We are the precious children of her. We are born through her love, and she shares in our losses and our gains, our tragedies and our triumphs. Her hair forms the galaxies, her thoughts become the stars, the sun is her own warmth, and her breath is felt upon this earth, causing the roar of the ocean waves. Her voice is heard in the call of the whales and the trill of the birds. She is all, nurturing life into existence. She is in my reaching for you, and she is in your acceptance of my divine hand. She is all, this great lady. Nothing lies outside of her sphere of influence and power, compassion and grace. That includes you and your dreams, great and small, my angel of love. This oracle comes to you via the sacred grace and the mercy of the Divine Mother, who is the great manifestation expression of divinity. All that is created, all that is made manifest without exception flows from her being. This is why it is safe to trust in life, even, most especially, the inexplicable mystery and even the darkness that may give rise to fear and judgment within us. It is all part of her unfathomable workings. So we pray for light, we pray for love. We honor and live our lives with its mysteries, with as much integrity as we can muster. But beyond that it is best to practice and participate in this life with much less certainty than the mind would have us believe necessary for inner peace. Inner peace does not come with understanding, it comes with trusting. Can we understand a star or a galaxy? Perhaps not. Yet we choose to trust in its beauty and beingness, and from its and from it derive great energy, hope, and inspiration. The ways of the Divine Mother are not to be judged by our limited standards, but that can be witnessed. Excuse me. Ooh, okay, so excuse me, I'm coming out of that energy. The ways of the Divine Mother are not to be judged by our limited standards, rather than can be witnessed, expressed, and experienced through receiving. What a relief to not need to understand. What a relief to simply live with trust and know that everything will work its way out. Through those wise ways of the Divine Mother, there is a gift headed to you now. Will you receive it? The gift is one of manifestation. Something you've been working towards, growing into, loving, and dreaming, perhaps for a very long time, is finally coming into fruition. Perhaps you have caught a sniff of the aromas from that divine kitchen. You know the meal is nearly ready, and it smells delicious. Or perhaps you have already been a curious naughty angel. You've poked your head through the door in the divine dining room, only to be captivated by the candlelight dancing in the reflection upon gleaming silverware, and the subtle sounds of crystal goblets and finest china being laid down upon the exquisite dining table. Or maybe, dearest one, you have absolutely no clue what will happen with your thoughts and attention so often turned to the past or the future. You have yet to realize what is coming to life for you this moment. Perhaps you will not gain any advance notice. You will instead run smack in the middle of a dinner party hosted in your honor, and perhaps even feel unprepared, wondering if this morning's yoga attire is suitable for such a grand occasion. You are being asked to receive this gift completely and utterly, whether you feel sufficiently worthy or not, or appropriately and readily attired. It is time, and the bestowal of this gift is as it should be, whether it seems to be in the best form or how it should be according to your own opinion. or the opinions of others. It is as if the Divine Mother has accorded it to be. She has her wild ways, of course, and oftentimes her workings in the world are, to put it mildly, downright unfathomable. But sometimes, and somehow, all things, all creations, all of life, her every working, serve with love. You are one of her creations, and so it is imminent manifestation of your own heart that has truth. Live it, love it, receive it completely. It is yours and meant to be so. This oracle comes with additional guidance for you. No matter whether or not things appear to be working out, they are. And you are held in the loving perception of the protection of the Divine Mother to keep you from straying from your highest path and divine destiny. There is your work here for you to do upon this planet in your own unique way. It is the work of the Divine Mother, the work of love. So then allow her to care for you, even if you wonder what heavenly mix is upon at times. That was a difficult one to read. I don't know why. So the sacred healing ritual is to say out loud, Divine Mother, through your gracious compassion and bounty, I humbly bow. I willingly accept the bestowal of grace now manifesting into form as a heartfelt wish delivered to me through the Divine Mother's genius and generosity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, this is on the grounds of Blood Angel. In the midst of darkness, a moon appeared with its brilliance. Stepping down from the clouds, it glanced at me like a falcon that hunts a bird and steals it away. It captured me and flew back to the infinite space. As I looked for myself, I could not find me, for my body had become all soul in the tenderness of love. The nine spheres of heaven dissolved in that moon as the ship of my existence drowned in the sea of love. This oracle comes usually with a particular blessing of well-being and vitality. Perhaps you've become tired or are well, but you're seeking more. You're thirsty, you're unsatiated. Whatever is installed and instilled upon you will begin to make sacred contact with the divine. It's also on the grounds of beyond death is life. Footprints lead to the shore of the sea. Beyond that point, no trace will remain. This oracle comes okay, so oftentimes you want something, but you're not willing to give something up to get what it is that you want. You're comfortable with whatever, or you're uncomfortable and what you're being given what you want, but it's forcing something to leave. It can't take up the room that's waiting for it if there's something already in it. You can't rent a house if somebody's living in the house. You can't move into a hotel room if somebody's already in that hotel room. So the next one is the impossible made possible. Love brings the sea into boiling and turns the mountains into pebble. Love creates infinite openings in the dark sky and shudders the earth with its magnitude. This oracle comes up when the universe wants something to happen, something beautiful, something utterly improbable, and something perfect for the path of the unique divine destiny. But our mind will wonder if it's even possible, will block it and create, fears and stuff. So basically, you want your soul to become consciously aware that it has a desire, but it also has something that's unknown, and it needs to ask the question, is the universe fulfilling unknown? We only limit what we believe to be possible by a lack of imagination. The divine has the resources to all that is and all that is yet to be, and there is not any limit to the resources of the heavens. The answer to that question is always a no. So then, Why has every impossible dream now be rendered possible instead of manifest? It's remained unmanifest. It's basically because we're not seeing the shining glory of the earth, and the earth is to realize the shining glory of our heart. So we can't come to understand our infinite being until we experience that reflected back to us, and it shouldn't always be by person, place, or thing. I experience much more consciousness and awareness to myself when I go in my own backyard and the animals are not afraid of me. So when the squirrel come and sit at my feet and the birds come and chirp right next to me and the hummingbird will land on my knee and look at me in the eye. And when I throw sunflower seeds on the ground, all the other animals come out and play and the crows will come land on the roof and talk with me while I'm praying. I learn so much more and I see the beauty in myself so much more than when I'm looking for some other human to affirm me, you know. When a baby at the supermarket is pulling on my shirt and smiling on my face and wanting to get to know me, and the random dog that runs around the neighborhood is only not afraid of me unlike anybody else, then that's when I know there's something divine going on. I don't need another person to reflect that back to me. And you know, that hasn't always been the case. I've sometimes wanted affirmation from some random human being that I thought I wanted to love me, and yeah, maybe or maybe I get it. Maybe or maybe not, I get this love, I get this affirmation, but I'm always left empty if I'm looking for love outside of myself. So when you're not in love with yourself, you're not in love with your higher self. When you're not in love with your higher self, you can't receive blessings from the universe without fighting them. And here, part of it is that you need to release what you've been conditioned and programmed to believe, male or female. Men, whether or not we know it, whether or not we agree, we are conditioned and programmed to go out and push women down, to dishonor, dilute, deject, disown, destroy their positioning, their magic, their sacredness, their sovereignty in our society. Women were conditioned and programmed to subjugate ourselves to other programmers, other colonizers, other controllers. We're taught to leave our heart space, our authentic sense of being, our heart space, and go into our sacral chakra, which is only subject to conditioning and programming. Your sacral chakra can be controlled because if you're in a traumatic environment, a traumatic experience, or what you're experiencing is triggering trauma and source wounding, we're not going to be able to ascend. We're going to be in crisis mode or trying to fight for our own honor and things of that nature. So it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve you. If anything I said resonates deeply with you, go ahead and book a consultation assessment. The information for that is in the show notes. If you would like a love reading up until the 9th of September, go ahead and book one. It's 46% off. There's a flash sale going on. Normally a flash sale comes and goes. It's not announced until it's on, and it's not, we don't tell you when it leaves, but I'm doing that right now. I'm warning you, hey, there's a flash sale, and I'm even letting you know when it expires. Flash sales, unlike other promotions, don't have a lot of openly accessible terms. That's the purpose. So we're defying gravity, we're defying convention, and I'm letting you know that the flash sale going on right now, it expires on the 9th of September. So there you go. Take good care of yourself, everyone.